My name is James Ennis, and I'm the MC for today for the beginning of our Faith, Food, Environment Symposium. We would like to now get started. We have a busy schedule ahead of us, and I hope you all have a copy of the schedule that came in your packets, and I'll be taking you through that as we proceed with our introductory remarks. On behalf of all the co-hosts of this great event, I want to welcome you all. I want to thank the co-hosts, and they include the Minnesota Farmers Union, North Dakota Farmers Union, South Dakota Farmers Union, Wisconsin Farmers Union, and Montana Farmers Union, and they make up an enterprise called the Farmers Union Enterprises, and they're one of our co-hosts and co-sponsors of this event. We also want to thank the St. Paul Seminary here at the University of St. Thomas for their support in bringing this event to fruition, as well as the University of St. Thomas and all their resources and support enabling us to do this large endeavor. I especially want to thank the Pontifical Council for Justice and Peace, and we have a representative here from Rome, Father Michael Ciarni, who came at the last minute, was delegated the responsibility to come here because of His Eminence Cardinal Peter Turkson could not make it because he had to address the issues around the Ebola virus crisis in West Africa. So Father Ciarni arrived yesterday and will have remarks for us throughout this symposium, and I am so grateful for his presence here and the support of the Pontifical Council for Justice and Peace. I also want to thank the International Catholic Rural Association, and we have representatives here from Rome, Vincenzo Conso, who's the General Secretary of the International Catholic Rural Association, and the support here from also some of the vice presidents around the country, around the world, including Michel Dupont from France, who represents Europe in the International Catholic Rural Association. Michel, here. And also Father Rene Takas, Father Rene from the Philippines, who just arrived yesterday as well, is here to join us. So who are we here? We're over 70 leaders from around the country, representing 14 states, plus our international observers. We're coming from a variety of faith traditions. 55% of us here are Catholics, 40% are Protestant in various denominations, and then about 5% have no faith affiliation, but have a passion and concern for some of these issues that we're going to be discussing in this symposium. Some of us are from large corporations, Cargill, General Mills, other food businesses. Others are from small, medium-sized farms and farmers. Others are theologians. I especially want to thank the bishops who are here. Bishop John Anderson from Western Minnesota, a Lutheran bishop here. Thank you for your presence and your participation. Rabbi Kravitz, is Rabbi here? He's not here yet. He's on his way. I have Bishop Stephen Blair from the San Joaquin Valley, my home area of Stockton, California, here, and many others. I don't have time to introduce everyone, but you were called here. Many of you by me, but but we're calling this Faith, Food, and the Environment, the vocation of the agricultural leader. Vocation is calling, a sense that there is a creator who's given us a responsibility to steward the gift of the earth. Many of you know the landscape of modern agriculture is shifting, and there are new and often unpredictable ways, and as forces like globalization, industrialization, biotechnology change the way farming is carried out across the world, there are a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of unknown territory, and today's agricultural leaders must tackle some of humanity's most important challenges. from providing food for all to ensuring the vitality of the environment for generations to come. And fortunately, guidance may be found in various faith traditions, as well as guidance may be found in various traditions which offer principles and wisdom. And we want to explore that wisdom. We want to discuss today how our faith and the wisdom of tradition can inform future leaders, men and women who are moving into agriculture, moving into food, businesses, moving into responsible positions throughout the United States, but also the world, to talk about the care of creation in the midst of providing food for all. You know, the University of Minnesota, or my alma mater, the University of California, Davis, they have agricultural conferences all the time, the future of food, how we provide food for all, and food security concerns. But this is unique because we're talking about how faith informs leaders' decision-making process in the food and environmental areas. And we do need a new ethic. We do need to look at ways of doing business that's economically sustainable, but also cares for the farm workers, cares for the human beings who are on our farms and working in our food processing facilities and working the land. And so the symposium was conceived a couple of years ago out of inspiration from a partnership between the Pontifical Council for Justice and Peace and the Center for Catholic Studies. And the Center for Catholic Studies here at the University of St. Thomas is another one of our co-hosts of this event. And I want to recognize the Center for Catholic Studies of integrating faith into how we work in our communities. And so you'll be hearing from Dr. Michael Naughton here in a very short time. But you are not here by accident. You are here because each of you exercise leadership in your sphere of influence. There's a purpose for you being here. And we're wanting to retrieve this idea, this understanding of vocation, calling, the providence of God that has brought you here for a reason. Someone told me, I was in Hungary last month. I'm the president of the International Catholic Rural Association, and so we have periodic meetings. And someone came up to me and said, you know, this idea of faith, food, and the environment is very complex. And in a sense, he was sharing with me that this is too big to tackle. But I would argue that it is complex, but that's the very reason no one can do it alone. That we need each other, and we need the gifts, the talents, the wisdom that this group here has, your experience, your background, your training, to challenge and to look at some of these problems. The problems of environmental degradation, what's happening with our soil and water resources. The problem of food security and hunger issues. And how do we address and adapt to a changing climate, and what can we do on that behalf? These are important questions, and there are many more to wrestle with. One of my favorite quotes is from J.R.R. Tolkien's book, The Lord of the Rings. And in a conversation that the wise wizard Gandalf is having with Frodo, the reluctant hobbit, regarding what to do with the powerful and evil ring, Tolkien writes, this is now Frodo, this reluctant hobbit, saying, I wish it need not have happened in my time. And Gandalf replies, so do I, and so do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that's been given us. And you all are here because you care passionately about food, agriculture, and the environment. And many of you are animated by your faith, too. Too often, we leave our faith at the door like those coats over there hanging, and we enter into the secular environment, we roll up our sleeves, and we act in ways that may be accommodating to unethical behavior, or, I got to make a living, so I cut corners and I do things that maybe impact my integrity. And I want to challenge us that I think that this is where the faith community can help inform leaders, future leaders too. And the purpose of this event is to inform an international symposium that will be occurring next year, and that will help develop a set of resources for men and women, future leaders in the food, agriculture, and environmental areas, how to address these problems in ethical ways that also raise up the dignity of every human person. So as we gather together now, I pray that we could have a dialogue, a discussion, and a symposium. I was looking up the etymology of the word symposium, and do any of you know where the symposium comes from? It comes from this idea of a drinking party, coming together to party and to drink together. And I was laughing at this. I thought, but we are coming together because we care. And there will be drinks here later on at the reception. And we will have a time of celebration. But first of all, this is an ecumenical interfaith gathering, but we want to affirm farmers. We want to affirm agriculture. We want to affirm all those who are in the food industry. It's important. It's extremely important. So as we gather, let's have a civil discourse, and I just want to go over a couple of logistics before I introduce and thank our esteemed leaders who are here. First of all, the symposium will run a very tight schedule, as you can see. And so I'll just ask for your cooperation. When you hear a bell, that means we reconvene after a break. We will be limited on time for discussion around our tables, but there will be table captains at each table facilitating the discussions following our keynote presentations. And in some cases, we'll have respondents. So we will hear the keynote, we will hear a respondent, we'll have some table discussion, and then we'll take questions from the floor by the table captains representing their tables if there are questions to the keynote presenter and or to the respondent. We have refreshments in the back here for those that anytime need a refreshment, or the restrooms are out to the right and down the hall. And so I just ask that we respect each other's time, because this is an unusual and wonderful event to be together. And so that we will be videotaping the sessions, we will be recording, and we'll have a recorder at each table helping take notes so that we can gather together the wisdom around this group. So I want to thank you on behalf of all our co-hosts. And I want to thank Senator Amy Klobuchar for being here. I want to thank you for your time, and we'll have introductions here in just a moment. I want to thank the University of St. Thomas especially, too. And I want to introduce you now to Dr. Mark Nugel. He's the interim vice president for mission at the University of St. Thomas. He was born and raised in Iowa. We'll forgive him for that. Sorry, Our headquarters of a 90-year-old organization had been based in Iowa for many, many years, so we love Iowa. Where his mother grew up on a dairy farm and his father on a classic quarter-section farm. He is the author or co-author of 6 books, including a book on spiritual field guide, Meditations for the Outdoors, which is in tackle boxes and tractor cabs everywhere. As an environmental journalist, he has reported from across the United States, Western Europe, Central America, Cuba, and Armenia. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Mark Nugel.
Thank you, Jim. I'm glad we got the gratuitous Iowa shot out of the way right off the bat, so we don't have to worry about that the rest of the I'm here on behalf of President Sullivan to welcome everybody today. She's traveling. I know she was able to meet with several of you last night at dinner, and I want to offer the official university welcome and open the event. So on behalf of the University of St. Thomas and President Julie Sullivan, I'd like to welcome all of you here to St. Paul today. I'd like to take a moment to particularly welcome our church leaders who are here today, including a welcome home to Bishop Pates, who's now located in Des Moines, but grew up in this neighborhood. Welcome home, Bishop Pates. And our other bishops who are in attendance today. Father Cherney, I would like to extend a special welcome for Father Cherney. Dobre den, welcome, and thank you for helping us out, filling in for Cardinal Turkson, representing Cardinal Turkson, and of course it's always a pleasure to welcome Senator Klobuchar to our campus. Thank you. St. Thomas has a strong connection to food and environmental issues, and it's, as Jim has mentioned, it's significant for me to be here. As he said, I grew up in Iowa. I walked my share of beans, baled hay, fixed tractors, sometimes successfully, sometimes not. Our family farm is still in existence, operated by my cousin, just outside of Fostoria. I know you all know where that is. Here in Minnesota, in fact, our campus, where you're sitting now, was once a farm. It was a fruit farm, and it was owned by a farmer named William Finn and his wife, who were, Mr. Finn was a veteran of the Union Army and stationed at Fort Snelling in the 1840s. He accidentally shot off his trigger finger, which made his use as an infantryman less to the Army, and he got 40 acres and a mule, and this is the 40 acres that he claimed. It was a territory then. So he started a fruit farm, and now we're a college. Today, our faculty, our staff, and our students are committed to issues like sustainability, and I want to give you a couple of examples of that. The building you're in fact, this entire campus, St. Paul campus, is powered by electricity generated by wind. The whole campus on the St. Paul side of the river is completely wind powered. That would be one example. Second example would be from our students, who with the help of our faculty members a few years ago started a sustainability garden, both for research and for food. And this year we added a seasonal farmers market to the sustainability garden. So they got to try to do some retail truck farming as well. The students now know what it's like to have too much kale, too many cherry tomatoes, and they also know what it's like to have the neighbors who are out walking their dog maybe wander over and pick up an heirloom tomato that happened to fall off the vine at one of their experiments accidentally, and then maybe slid a couple of zucchinis from their own garden into our garden because they had too many and they didn't know what to do with them all, which actually threw off some of the data collection a little bit, but we're working on that. And I'm happy to say that students sent more than 2,000 pounds of fresh produce to our local food shelf. Good for them. You all are international leaders in environmental studies, in agriculture, and food, and in moral theology, and you've got important work ahead of you here. And in exploring the faith and farming connection, may God bless your endeavors this week. And I want to quote Ecclesiastes chapter 9. Based on what Jim said, I think this is appropriate. Go, eat your bread with joy, and drink your wine with a merry heart, for God has already approved what you do. Thank you.